Kaboom.
Good evening, Texas bikers and bikers all across the nation. This is Texas Biker Radio number 426. My name is Mel Popeye Moss. The character here sitting next to me is Mel OG Robbins. We are with Sons of Liberty Riders MC, and we are your host each and every Tuesday night of every week at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you would, like and share this video right now. It is live, everybody. It is live. And good evening, OG. How are you doing?
Doing well. Doing well.
Yeah,
A little cold, but doing well.
yeah. And we got a couple alerts we want to work on here tonight. I guess you can call them alerts. One thing that's been out there across the internet and everything else, and I don't think many people know about it. NASA put out the word that we're going to be going through a cosmic storm. In other words, I guess it's an asteroid that blew up, collided with something, whatever. But we're going to be going through the trail dust, and also we've got the Jupiter and Saturn on the 21st that are going to be aligning. But what they said and what's been put out there is, hey, we're going to go through 6 days of darkness. Now, I don't know how dark it's going to be or what any of that stuff, but be prepared is, I guess, what we're going to say. Make sure you have water, food, and also in case things shut down for whatever reason, that there may be a news blackout. They've already hinted that this may disrupt the media. This they don't know what it's going to do to satellites and radio frequencies and everything else. So this is what's out there. Whether any of it's true or not, who knows? Who knows? But let's be prepared, kind of like Y2K, right, OG?
Absolutely. Be prepared, and maybe nothing will happen.
Yeah,
It is Murphy's Law.
that's right.
If you're
That's
prepared,
right.
the odds are nothing will happen. If you're
That's
not
right.
prepared, look forward to chaos.
Yeah, more chaos on top of chaos on top of chaos. You know, OG, I came across some disturbing information today. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
We heard about today, got a phone call. A 23-year-old man, young man, who's been in trouble with the law multiple times, was arrested on a parole violation, OG.
Oh, what'd they get him for?
Listen here. He was wanted for theft of a firearm or multiple firearms. We're still digging into this. But he was released from jail. Now, he had a gun on him when he was stopped. He was roughed up. And later on, he was released from jail, but with no firearm charges. He had a weapon on him in his waistband. Now, OG, what county do you think this would be in?
Parker.
No. Milam County.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was thinking of Milam when I said Parker.
Okay. Milam County. Now, we have a 24-year Army veteran on trial in Milam County for criminal carry. even though he had been vetted by the state as a non-criminal.
He had a CHL.
Yes. So this young man gets released, but the 24-year veteran that has never been found guilty of a crime maybe when he was a teenager like me, I don't know. But with a decorated Army soldier, 24 years in the Army, been to every hellhole this country has sent our troops to during his 24-year career. A Purple Heart, 2 Bronze Stars, and he finds himself on trial in Milam County. Meanwhile, we see this. It's really, really disturbing, OG.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's tough to find any kind of logic in the story here.
Yeah.
If he's violated parole because he was carrying a firearm, and now he's been released from jail with no charges
For a
involving
firearm. That doesn't mean there may not be charges over the theft.
True. You got to wonder why they wouldn't charge carrying the firearm. It's hard to understand how there could have been an illegal search. I mean, if you stop someone that's on parole, they're going to pat you down.
Yeah.
And they're going to search the immediate area. And if a weapon appears, it's a legal search. So something's not right.
Yeah. Family members are concerned over this young man's path. And I've been told they have a video. And hopefully they find a way to get that video to me so we can discuss what that county sheriff, and the difference here is this is a county sheriff, and on the other side, it's the DPS. But it's just ironic that this kind of mess keeps happening in these small counties. And by small, I mean in the way of population. They could have a huge landmass. It's incredible, guys. It's incredible. And it may be cause for another visit to Milam County to figure a few things out down there. Because now I do believe this is another opportunity maybe for both sides, not only for the young man, but for the 24-year Army veteran that finds himself, oh gee, I think going into the 3rd year of this nightmare.
I can guarantee you it'll continue.
Yeah. But, wow, guys. Wow. Really disturbing. Really disturbing. Pass the word to everybody about that. If you're from that area, pass the word to all our veteran friends. Pass the word to all our biker friends. Pass the word to the community that surrounds Milam County. All the communities. Let them know Let them know. Ah. Anyway, moving forward. OG, in podcast 425, we mentioned the corruption we see today has been going on in our community for decades. First they vilify, then they set a narrative, and then the game is on. As the law creates mandates that law enforcement participate in gang database collections. Their side has the media, law enforcement, lobbyists, the courts, and the public is spoon-fed the propaganda. Now zoom out to the entire country and fast forward to 2020. Do we see a pattern here?
Never ending and sure to continue.
Yeah. Listen, guys, in an earlier episode of Texas Biker Radio, we warned of the draconian laws created in socialist Australia. They were headed our direction if we didn't wake up and fight back. Now, many in our country thought Australia had a monarchy-style government. That's not the case. And are they ever bitching about it now? It's a socialist-style government. And they have probably the worst coronavirus lockdowns we've heard about yet. Not to mention the laws they had for bikies, that's what they call them there, that included jail time without due process or trial. Freedom is hard to find there. It's hard to find. What's needed now is zooming out to see what's happening worldwide. Then zoom back into our country. There's some obvious shit going on. Governments and corporations have been compromised, everybody. They've been compromised. Just think about it. The CCP, Chinese Communist Party, has sent out minions, 2 million strong. I mean, this came out in a leak out of China that the mainstream media is trying to cover up. I don't know, maybe we ought to start an Operation Kick-Ass. The mainstream media and big tech is said to be planning a nationwide, perhaps worldwide blackout. That's what we're talking about here. In case Trump tries to do that executive order. And this is in spite of their attempts at news by omission. What they're doing is they're not reporting on the news of the day. They're just not doing it. But we are successfully exposing that China has successfully infiltrated our government, and they've been doing it for decades, at the highest levels, and played a part in compromising the 2020 presidential election. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it, except the mainstream media, big tech, is trying to give cover for it. But as bikers, we're on to it. We've seen this before. We're seeing it now. We've been seeing it for decades. The kind of crap that's going on in our courts, where people are not being arrested for heinous crimes, maybe even treason. Laws for them, laws for us, everybody. I mean,
Well, the truth is,
go ahead.
we have sat for years and watched all kinds of crooked politicians get by with everything short of murder, and
Yeah.
no charges have ever been pressed.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think back. Remember when they found in that congressman's refrigerator all that frozen money?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nothing ever came of it.
Nothing.
We got a commissioner here in Dallas. The FBI was supposed to bring up all these charges,
John Wiley Price.
and Slippery Wiley got right out of it. Look at Hillary Clinton. She Benghazi, the Clinton Foundation, God knows what else. Well, I mean, we do know. I mean, there were uranium deals struck, the whole bit, basically public knowledge. Nothing's ever done.
Nothing.
But let you or I grow a marijuana plant,
Oh, yeah.
whatever, and we won't see the light of day for years. It's a slam dunk.
Are you ready to stand up yet? Maybe you will by the time I finish here. The Biden family cabal is but one part of many that the media and big tech are trying to give cover to. But because of arrogance and greed, others who think they are in the driver's seat, and we can do nothing about it. We can do nothing about it. They're surfacing. They're surfacing. And of course, we have surfaced people that have surfaced that have connections and meetings with the Chinese government. We already know about the Biden family. Then there's Dianne Feinstein, J.B. Pritzker of Illinois' governor, Utah Governor Gary Herbert, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Barker, North Carolina Governor Ray Cooper, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Hello, everybody. Louisiana Governor John Edwards, Pennsylvania Governor John Wolf, and yes, General Mattis. All have met with Chinese counsel or consultants. That's a group of people who are responsible for making official decisions or particular activity or advising. It's about they sought advice. They sought advice from somebody seeking from experts in the field.
Now, I don't suppose you want to go to one of those meetings before you set up an offshore account.
Right.
Hint, hint.
You know, what our politicians done is like law enforcement's done. Law enforcement has made themselves whores for grants and equipment, money and equipment.
Did you say hordes or whores?
Whores. Whores. I know I don't speak well anymore, but I try.
Well, that could have been taken either way.
That's right.
Hordes of money.
I'm glad you clarified that. So, yeah, that's what they're doing. It's greed. It's power. And China knows that this easy money and this power that comes from them trying to undermine our government, and there are people that are going to go along with it. It's the lure of easy money, right?
It's often said everybody has a price.
Yes. And our politicians surely got a price because they have opportunity. Not only is it insider trading that still goes on, I mean, you have to look at the number of millionaires that are in the Congress.
Well, another angle to look at is you take a look at how much money is spent in some of these elections.
Yeah.
In the primaries, the whole bit. You have millions, sometimes in the real lower offices, hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent to hopefully win an office. Now, the problem is that may only pay $12,000 a year, $25,000 a year, and in the higher offices, well, like president, that's it used to be $250,000. Now it's closer to $500,000, $400,000, something like that. So you have to ask your question: why the hell is somebody spending that much money to get into office when they'll never be able to make up what they spent to get into the office? Now, there may be some true patriots out there holding offices here and there, but more times than not, I was living in Minnesota when Jesse Ventura ran for governor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should be. I was miserable the whole time there. I couldn't get out of that frickin' state fast enough. But at any rate, Jesse Ventura. Now, some of you may not know, but at one time, Jesse Ventura was a Mongol. A lot of people don't know that. There's a fair amount that do, but a lot of people don't. He was a full-patched Mongol. Now, he was running for governor in the state of Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is an exceptionally liberal, socialistic form of government type of state. That is the birthplace of medical care. What's that medical care system?
Obamacare?
No, not Obamacare. Prior to that, it was, I can't think of it right now, but they're a basic, philosophically, they're a womb to tomb mentality there. That state was settled basically by Scandinavians. And if you look at the Scandinavian countries, that is about as socialist as you can get.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's a lot of people up there that were pretty fed up. It's one of the highest income tax states in the Union. High sales tax, high everything. And a lot of people were fed up. So Jesse Ventura, who did not have really much money at that time, he was out there begging for pennies to run for the office, making all kinds of promises. And he won a lot of people over because they were fed up. And they thought that kind of change would be good. They're putting in this common folk kind of guy. They put him in, and, the first couple of years, he did okay. He got vehicle registration down considerably. All kinds of things came down. But all of a sudden, old Jesse started getting wealthy. And he got wealthier and wealthier. And by the time he left office, he was Daddy Warbucks.
There you go.
Relative to the money. And, still has a lot of money today. But he made his money as governor.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, let me clarify something here, the difference between a council, a Chinese council, and a Chinese consultant. A council is a group of people that are responsible for making official decisions on a particular activity or advising on something. A consultant is seeking advice from someone with the expertise. And of course, there was one that met with a minister, meaning he was a head of a CCP department. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then OG, here during 2020, as currently, there are 50 Democrat congresspersons that are members of the Socialist Communist Party here in the United States. Card-carrying members, everybody.
Wow.
You think this ain't an open door? You think they're not being paid? You think they're not on the payroll? We should ask that question, don't you think? But I will tell you this, they will be open about it because their names are public. You can find it, Google it. It's incredible, everybody. It's incredible.
I just remembered. Minnesota is the home of HMO.
HMO.
That's where it was created.
Yep. HMO insurance. Yep. Listen to this, guys, and let me show you this. A woman, and we do have the video and audio. I'm not going to play it because we haven't got that worked out yet, but I want to show you this here. This is Congressman Al Green. Now, I'm sure you recognize him if you watch anything on the Congress and that Black Caucus. And this guy screams the loudest about trying to impeach Donald Trump. Well, a lady was screaming at him. I say screaming at him. He was walking to an event, and she was quit selling us out to China, quit selling us out to China, quit selling us out to China. And he turns to her and says, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. That's the attitude, and they're bold. They're bold. You know, it's just like this one right here. That's Cynthia Johnson, another bold one. Now, OG, last night, I ran across a video that was 6 hours long. Oh. And it was the Proud Boys taking on Antifa in Washington, D.C. the other night. There was about 1,000 Proud Boys and about 400 Antifa types. But that didn't stop the Antifa types from stabbing one of them. Now, the police were keeping them separated. And the Proud Boys kept begging them to get out of the way and let us take care of this. And OG, I don't think we're going to get out of this as it stands right now, because the more and more people are caving, including Jay Sekulow, who were managing some of the lawsuits for the president. From what I heard them say today, they've all but given up. And now, today, we see this guy, Mickey Mudturtle, Mitch McConnell, that congratulates Biden and Harris on their victory. Now, this is not played out, not till January 6th. Why he would be doing that now, I don't know. But I'll tell you this much. The people of his state will remember it. Because people like us are not going to let it go. We are going to remember this. We are going to remember the Republicans that didn't fight because they don't know how. They think they're going back to business as normal, as it was before Trump. Hell no. Hell no. We can play that game too about resisting. And President Trump should never, never concede. Period. Just as we will not accept Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as legitimate presidential and vice presidential candidates, or even if they're put into office, under protest by 70 million American citizens. Now, some people who are just tired of it are going to give up. They're going to give up. That's not what should happen.
Good example of that would be Waco.
Yes.
Excellent example. A lot of people would have given up. A lot of people did. We did not. And it went on for 4 years. And we finally found victory.
Yes.
And that's what's got to happen here. You cannot give up, even in the darkest hour. If need be, we have to resist, just like they have. We resist and we keep resisting, and we don't do what it is they want us to do.
Let me tell everybody the one thing they hate. The one thing they hate, and we're doing it right now, is exposing them. Every step of the way, every new thing we find out, we get it out there. We get it around the mainstream media. We had to do the same thing in Waco. Everybody was against us. Everybody, including the media, who had bought in to the propaganda put out by law enforcement, the media, and we had to keep chipping away at it, chipping away at it, chipping away at it, again and again and again. We were relentless. And that's what Republicans aren't, is relentless. You know, I said, well, why would politicians do this? Why would they sell their country out?
Money.
And the answer to that is easy. It's the same with all criminals, everybody. The lure of easy money and lots of it. The lure of having your family taken care of. The lure of having your staff taken care of. Let me tell you, they were never on Obamacare. They were never on the same insurance as the rest of us. And their staffs had their college tuitions paid for.
Oh, listen, there was much discussion today on the airways about even this COVID thing, you know, and all these lockdowns. And Mr. Dumbass from Microsoft, you know, when he made his statement about we need to be locked down for what the hell is it?
Till 2022 is what he said.
Yeah. The ironic thing here is that everyone that is attempting to lock down states and lock down local communities are generally not affected by the lockdown. They have tons of money. They do their own thing. I mean, we've seen Nancy at the hairdresser, the governor of California going to his own parties. Como got caught pulling shit the other day going somewhere. And now they got women talking about him sexually harassing them. And these are Democrat women.
It's all coming out, everybody.
These are Democrats.
Get ready for more of it.
Conservatives. But if you stand back and you look at who the hell's trying to dictate, it's all people that are not affected by what the hell they're dictating for us to do. And the same thing is going to hold true if Biden somehow or other gets into power. All this crap they're going to come out with is not going to affect them, nor these rhino Republicans that we're dealing with, like Mitch McConnell and the rest of them.
John Cornyn.
Yeah, John Cornyn. I mean, Ted Cruz, good guy. I'd love to see him as governor of the state of Texas.
Yeah. You know, the old saying, everybody, there's no honor among thieves, and in this case, there's no honor among traitors. And all we needed was some of these people to be arrested and put in the hot seat and then have them turn on each other. That's exactly what would happen, but yet we couldn't find any law enforcement with the guts enough to go out there and get it done. I guess everybody's on the frickin' take.
Or they're scared. I mean, Hillary Clinton has been heard saying, if you take me down, I'm taking the rest of you with me.
Yeah. And
so, you know, she must have a ton of crap on a ton of people.
Then we find out these lower court judges, the reason that they're making these quick decisions and turning down those lawsuits is because they and their families have been threatened. But I guess nobody had the balls to call the law and tell them they were being threatened. They're that frightened of what might come at them. But we're not. We're not intimidated by them. We're not intimidated by the media. We're not intimidated by Antifa. We're not intimidated by Cynthia Johnson. We're not intimidated by Al Green. And, of course, that's not the damn singer. That's a card-carrying communist is what he is. This is a shit we've been fighting all my life. We lost 58,000 young men in Vietnam fighting communism. And we're going to insult them like this? We are going to insult our troops since 9/11 that have gone to war and died fighting brutal dictators and crazy people? We're going to insult them by being scared of some frickin' politicians and some little morons that are running around every night beating on drums and carrying on. And the only reason that's happening is because mayors and governors are telling the police to stand down in certain states. It's incredible, and we've allowed them to get the upper hand. And we had courts telling us We had courts telling us, and we had people, when they tried to file the lawsuits early, listen to this, everybody, they told them, well, you can't file lawsuits because nothing's happened yet. You got to wait till after the elections. And then they start filing suits after the election. Then what we get told, you're too late. You filed too late. Well, hell, we had to collect the evidence that they wanted. It was weeks, not months, weeks that it started coming in. And you're too late after being told you're too early. You don't see anything wrong with that, everybody? And now we find out in the Supreme Court during the Texas lawsuit, they were screaming at each other. They could be heard down the hallway. Clerks outside the meeting room there in the Supreme Court could hear them yelling inside. And Chief Justice Roberts shouting, "You're going to vote the way I tell you to." That man has been compromised. The court, the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, has been compromised because they were worried. They were worried about rioting. But they're not worried about us. Oh, gee, that sounds like law enforcement with bikers.
I was going to say, they sound a lot like they've got the same integrity as the FBI now.
Yeah. Or law enforcement here in Texas. One of the reasons they stop bikers instead of going after real criminals is because they know it's a safe bet. Bikers are going to comply. They're going to comply. Even when they're going to jail, now they may get pissed off, but they're going to comply. And we've seen that, whether they're 1%, no percent, whatever. They comply. It's a safe bet for law enforcement. Hell, who wants to go out there and stop a real criminal? Who wants to approach some BLM members who might shoot them? You don't want to deal with those people. No, but you can stop a biker. Same way with Republicans, everybody. I'm making an analogy here. I don't think I'm too far off. Do you, OG?
Absolutely not. I may register as a Republican so I can vote in the primaries, but I damn sure don't count myself as being one.
And you know, what's pitiful about this, OG, is we have no choice, everybody. We've got to make sure the people in Georgia get out there to vote again. They can't lay down just because they're pissed at Republicans. You got to go vote. You got to try and win those 2 seats. It's the only stopgap now. Unless something happens with that executive order. And my only question then is, who is it going to be that goes out and enforces it? We'll see.
I've always asked, when, like, the Supreme Court hands down a mandate or the court hands down a mandate and someone looks them in the eye and says, "Screw you," how do they get it enforced?
Yeah. Well, let's discuss these things that are out there, OG. I mean, there are those out there that say this is a trap, and the patriots are busy exposing them all. In other words, what they're saying is they're going to play this to the end to let them expose themselves, all of them, because they think they've got this one, and now they're out there being bold. And when there is something to be said that when you certify a vote that you know is fraudulent, that's a crime.
That's a felony.
Yes, that's a crime. So they're letting these people walk through these doors, commit these crimes. And now they're talking about all the China infiltration, all that got put out there, of the 2 million Chinese communist CCP members, 2 million of them that are around the world that have infiltrated all these countries, all these governments, all these corporations, including the one I worked in, aircraft. They were frickin' everywhere. Crimes that range from death threats to judges, swing states to proving elections, knowing they are compromised. These are crimes, everybody. And they say, stand by. Stand by. And this would be the reason for the news blackout, the internet blackout, because they don't want us talking to each other. But this is the reason we got to be prepared, and this is the reason we got to have other avenues of communicating. It may not be through Facebook, it may not be through YouTube, but there are some other entities out there that will work for us. And we're exploring those right now, hot and heavy. And you should be too. In a few days, we'll have an announcement in the other places we'll be at that we know will not comply with all the other big tech and mainstream media and will still be in business, the business of free speech and the exchange of ideas and the exchange of opinions. Because these platforms we're on that we use the most certainly are not. Got any comments on that? I said a lot, right?
No, it's a sad state of affairs.
Listen to this, everybody. When the Republican electors showed up at the Michigan State House, they were not allowed in. Only the Democrats. They had 200 police officers and troops that surrounded the State House and wouldn't let the Republican electors in to vote. What is that? If they think they've got the upper hand, why is all this going on? If they think there's nothing that can be done, they ought to be taking a victory lap and saying, like Al Green said, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh, yeah? We can raise hell. And there is a last option. We'll see if it plays out. We'll see what happens. Unlike elections in the past from electronic voting machines, the files were stored. In other words, prior to 2020, the files, the data, everything from the electronic voting machines, they are still available. But the files for the 2020 voting machines have disappeared, everybody. Have disappeared. What does that tell you?
That tells you it's crooked as hell, and what needs to happen here is the Supreme Court needs to ball up, declare the entire 2020 election illegal, throw it out, and inform the states that you need to have a second re-election type of thing go on for your state officials and local officials, and we are going to turn the vote over to Congress for the president.
They need to grow a spine in spite of threats of riot.
The entire election should be thrown in the garbage.
Yeah. And everybody, right now we've got it going on. Get ready for a new round of Russia, Russia, Russia. They say they hacked our system to disrupt elections. Well, if that's so, isn't that a foreign power interfering with our election, whether it's Russia or China? And maybe, just maybe, Executive Order of 2018, EO 13848, should be implemented. Have government agents in the mainstream media. I mean, they're already out there pushing that narrative that the system was hacked by Russia, Russia, Russia. Boom, a news blackout when we're on to it, when we know what's going on. And OG, I understand on the 13th of December in the UK, everybody, YouTube, Google email, Google Drive went blank for a large percentage of the people. No one had access. Nobody. It went out. Was that a test? What was that? There's no explanation for it, and they're not saying. So, OD, we're going to have the earth go dark for 6 days. That's what they say. Who knows, everybody? Who knows? There's so much lying going on out there, and now we got NASA saying this stuff. And, of course, all the fact checkers out there checking. They got their own opinions about it. And they say it's a bunch of bullshit. Well, why put it out there in the first place? NASA. But they didn't say it was going to be that bad. And, of course, they talk about Jupiter and Saturn aligning to produce the star that my wife is just all excited about. Yeah.
It's going to be an outing.
Yeah, to the point it's an outing now. And you know, they say that, they said the sun will be 90% blocked. This will be interesting, everybody. I really do believe. And the last time this happened was 250 years ago. And the next time it's going to be happening is 80 years from now. Just saying. It's kind of interesting. And the one thing, remember, everybody, with everything that's going on, FISA works both ways. And from what we've understand, they've been watching since 2018. And like the president said, we have it all. And the criminals are now all in. They're all in. And they know that John Durham has added special prosecutors to his team right in the middle of all this election process. Kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. Why would he do that if it's all over? And I've got news for Fox News, everybody. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic, making sure that every voice is heard. And that's the difference between a democracy and a republic.
Majority rules in a democracy.
That's right.
A republic, everyone is heard.
That's right. The minorities has a voice. And from what we see going on right now, they plan on us being the minority. But I plan on Donald Trump pulling something out of the hat.
You got to have faith. You
got to
have
it.
faith. And
Gotta have it.
That all being said and done, you still got to be ready. If it goes south, ready to resist.
Ready to resist, ready to fight. Because, OG, the way I see this, if we're going to get our country back, there's going to be a fight. And it may be a bloody fight. That's up to them. That's up to them.
Yeah, it's working up to it. I've got something I'm concerned about here in Texas. You remember that couple in Missouri that
Yeah.
got arrested when they were trying to stand their ground in front of their house?
Oh, yeah.
When they gated community.
Yeah.
Gated community. And we're not talking about a public street now, a house on a public street. We're talking about a home inside of a gated community. You got this mob breaking in, and you've got this couple standing their ground. So they get arrested. Now, Governor Abbott popped on the airwaves
Uh-oh.
and said, something like that would not happen in Texas. You would not be arrested for standing your ground. Well, listen to this, Texans, and listen hard. Stand your ground is about to be attacked and diluted, if successful.
Yes.
Now, you need to do something about this, and by doing something about this, you got to do the same thing we did 2 years ago when we were in Austin. There was a moron representative in the Dallas area. I think her, what district did she represent? It was Garland.
Yeah.
Yeah, she represented, her central area was Garland. And she was attempting to get a helmet law put in place because she had some friend that apparently was traumatized over a helmet issue, and she felt it was the right thing to do. Well, we descended on her and told her in no uncertain terms we were ready to mount one hell of an activity against her to get this stopped. I don't think she listened real hard. She wasn't real successful because we were also covering it with other state representatives telling them what in the hell was going on and how disenchanted we were. So she was not able to get any traction. Same thing's going to go on here with Stand Your Ground. You've got a representative from District 105. That's Dallas County. The central part of that district would be Irving, and that's where this moron lives. It's Representative Terry Meza, M-E-Z-A. She grew up in Irving. She's the current representative. She is introducing House Bill 196. And what she's attempting to do in here is she's saying, if somebody breaks in your home, you have to run. And she's talked about this openly. You cannot stand your ground. According to her, no one's life is worth your property or your safety.
And you're responsible for their safety.
Yeah, you're responsible for their safety. You are supposed to retreat. If she gets this on, Stand Your Ground goes in the toilet. Texans, I'm telling you, you better mount up. You better get a hold of this dumb broad. Give her a piece of your mind and get a hold of your local reps. Let them know about House Bill 196. Let them know you're a constituent. There's 400,000 bikers in the state of Texas, and damn it, we ought to be able to mount a movement against House Bill 196. I, for one, am not going to run from my damned home if somebody's trying to break in. I'm going to plaster them all over the walls and fertilize my lawn with them.
I may not even tell anybody about it.
We'll call the crew over.
That's right. We'll call the cleanup crew.
The cleaning crew.
Yeah. I learned that in Pulp Fiction. Just saying. All right, let's close talking about the China virus, OG.
Okay.
Oh yeah, everybody. After months of the mainstream media and politicians and even Dr. Fauci and that that shithead, after months of them poo-pooing the vaccine, being rushed to market, being rushed and put out there, going to kill everybody, now they've changed their tune. All the mainstream media, now they're showing the first person that got the vaccine. Of course, it was a young black lady. Wasn't anybody in a freaking nursing home and, anything like that. A young black lady that probably survived it anyway. She got it. But, hey, at least it's out there. They're happy about it. They're not mentioning Trump's name. They're not giving him any credit. Now they're all okay with it. Let's get out there and get it done and get this. But one thing it does, because people were beginning not to fear the virus anyway, because the death rate from it is so low. 99% of the people that get it survive it, including myself. And my dad now, my 92-year-old dad, has had the China virus, and he's now made it about 10 days.
Well, I think the point you ought to make, Popeye, the fact that you had COVID,
yeah,
not to be disrespectful, but you're not a healthy guy.
Not that I've had cancer 4 times.
That's what I'm saying, and the remarkable part here is you would be classed as a very what's
on my way out.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, you've had a heart attack.
Yep, 20 years ago.
You've had cancer a couple of times.
Couple of times recently.
Yeah, I mean, you are the type that they were trying to say if you caught the COVID, you'd be struck down within 24 hours. You'd be dead.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because I ate Cracker Jacks.
And basically, all that happened was you felt a little crappy.
Well, like a case of asthma.
Yeah.
Not as bad as I used to get when I was a kid. Is what it was like. It was aggravating. It was hard to breathe. But I do believe because we were treating it like asthma, and I was actually doing breathing treatments. I was actually taking prednisone before we figured out what it was. Because we thought it was my seasonal allergies that I get every year.
Right.
And so, I do believe that helped. And then when I finally got through to my damn doctor after he was gone for the weekend, and the guy that replaced him, he was worthless, offered no help. Good luck. Go to the hospital if you can't breathe. And really, I do believe that's what happens, and people sit at home till they've got pneumonia.
Yep.
And they go to the hospital with a strike against them. Don't do that if you get it. But know that you have a choice now. A vaccine is coming.
Well, actually, they had, I was hearing some people testify on radio tonight that have taken the shot here locally at some of the hospitals, and one guy was saying, well, he felt a little pain in his arm the first day, kind of like when you get a flu shot.
Yeah.
And he woke up the next morning and it was pretty much gone, and he felt fine.
Yeah.
So, you just don't know. The only warnings I've seen so far on the vaccine is if people tend to have an allergic reaction. Now, I'm not talking about a typical allergic reaction. It's more of a violent type of allergic reaction.
You can have that with any vaccine.
Yeah. There were, I think there were a couple cases over in Great Britain where they had to administer help to people immediately because they had a violent allergic reaction to the vaccine, and it was found that they were prone to that to begin with.
Yeah. Hey, I wonder how many get it and they go into a damn panic attack because they're so damn worried about it.
Yeah.
I promise you it happens. I promise you. You get yourself so worked up, you actually think it's happening to you.
Well, as much hype as there's been
In
in
my-
the media.
Oh, gee, in my 30s, I thought I was dying, and I would go into panic attacks. And they gave me one time Ativan. Now that's some pretty powerful stuff to
Right.
calm me down. And I got so dependent on that. One day it flew out. This is a true story, everybody. It flew out of my pocket on the motorcycle coming home from work. And when it hit the ground, I'm running about 70 miles an hour. I'm never running under 70. And so I'm running about 70 miles an hour. The pill bottle flies out on I-20, center lane. I stop, and I'm out there in the middle of the highway picking up these tiny little pills. Cars are whizzing around me, honking at me, everything else. Finally, I looked around and I looked at what I was doing and I said, you know what? This bullshit has to stop right here, right now. And I quit them cold turkey and never looked back. Started relaxing.
I've seen you when you've been a walking, talking jackhammer.
Yeah. I try to maintain an even strain, but I'm kind of like Mark Levin. At times you think he's just going to bust a cork.
Right, yeah.
I can get that way, but generally I try and maintain an even strain.
He's actually a pretty calm guy, though. He is. He has to calm me down sometimes.
Yeah, I do have to calm him down. That's the truth of it all. And my wife, she's just totally out of control. There's no calming her down. None. And I piss her off every 5 minutes. But hey, I posted a video today from the old video file at Sons of Liberty Riders MC on Facebook. Go take a look at it. We may do one of those about once a week. And it's when I started making videos back probably 10 years ago or maybe a little bit more. And I think the next one coming up, next week we'll do one, and it'll be about Obamacare and the plans they had for old people.
You mean the death panels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we had some things to help them along in the video. It's pretty funny and you're going to like it. With that, OG, let's say hi to some people on the chat line over there.
Well, I see our chapter president out in West Texas is on, Napa.
Yeah.
And our chapter president in Tennessee is on, Vegas.
Yeah. And let me
Dutch,
see.
who didn't come tonight, is at home.
That's right.
But-
Geezer's seat was vacant again.
Yeah, but I heard Dutch got himself in trouble.
Uh-oh.
He took his old lady's, apparently she's got a vacuum cleaner that she cherishes.
Uh-oh.
And he took one of the attachments and cleaned out the fireplace with it.
Oh.
Talk about one hot woman.
Oh, man. Let me tell you, Dutch, you use a shop vac for that, not the old lady's vacuum cleaner.
Last I heard, he was hiding in the dark somewhere out in the backyard.
Yeah, I would too. Because I promise you, I'd never hear the end of it. Matter of fact, this when our house had carpet before we put in the wood floors.
Yeah?
We had a squirrel get stuck in the chimney.
Oh, Lord.
And he come out of that chimney with the soot all over his paws. And we never got it up. Never got it all up. No matter how many times we cleaned it, no matter what we did to it, there were little paw prints in the carpet. Oh, I called hell. And I'm not the culprit. It was a damn squirrel.
It was all your fault.
It was my fault.
Yeah.
But everything's my fault inside the house. That's the reason she doesn't come out here. This is my territory. Just saying. And let me see who else is there. There's Crystal Campbell. Jerry, how you doing, sir? Jamon Rooney. Jeffrey Palmer. Earl Bennett. How you guys doing? See if I can see some other names here. Looks like y'all are having a good time. In God we trust. I can never get this one right here, OG. I don't know.
Don't be an 85. I think, I don't.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you doing? David. And so, yeah, you guys, thank you for being here tonight. And, wow. There was one other thing. Damn. And I lost it as I was going down the list. With that, everybody, if you don't have a motorcycle, buy one. Even if you think you're too old, you're never too old. You never are. But we've been riding them a long time. We don't know any better. And we'll ride till we can't. Ride safe, be safe.
Stay healthy.
That's right. All important at this time because we're going to need you for the fight ahead.
For the revolution.
That's right. Resist, everybody. Resist every step of the way. Do not concede. Do not give up. That should not be in your vocabulary.
I may have just triggered the NASA computer with the word revolution.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We may be off of YouTube. We'll see. But we were asking if that was the case. We didn't mean it was real. We were just asking. But because that's what we do here is we seek the truth. And we expose the lies. This is Butch Popeye Moss.
And OG.
You'll have to ask him what OG means. Good night, everybody. Good night.